And when it comes to premiums, how are those determined? Because we know spot price is determined by the paper markets and all the contracts and trading and all of that. But for how much I'm paying over the spot price, where does that number come in? Do you guys just make it up off the top of your head, or is it supply and demand?
SD Bullion is giving away a monster box of 2024 Tree of Life silver coins. Sign up today at sdbullion.com/sweepstakes.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Morning, Silver Dragons.
Good to see you, Harry. How you doing today?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. It's been a crazy week. Lots going on. And today, silver is down a hair. We're under $29 for the bid right now.
We are, and it's been down really for the most part for the last week, down from around $31. Interestingly though, gold has maintained its level above 2,400, although it's flirting with going below it this morning. It's still up a little bit. The ratio between gold and silver is expanding, not contracting as people have hoped. But nonetheless, that's just how it is.
That is how it is. And honestly, when we look at the gold-silver ratio, when it's going up, this is just screaming to me, silver is a better buy. Now's the time for silver.
Again, I always go back to places that both metals have been before, and that means you look back at whatever the all-time high for each is, and gold is at the all-time high or just real close to it, and silver's, not even 60% of the all-time high. So based on not conjecture, but where silver has actually been, I would have to say it is a bargain.
Yeah, I think silver's a bargain, especially under 29. I mean, it was around $32 for a while there.
Yeah.
So it seems cheap to me. And going along with that, so when we look at the spot price, as many of us know, that's determined by the paper markets. It doesn't really have much to do with the bullion, right?
Well, it's a guide we use to base our pricing off of. It's the best guide we have, but that's the paper market, and we live in the physical market.
Right.
And the physical market is different. As we were discussing this morning earlier, the premiums that you see in the physical market are far bigger than you see in the spot market. For instance, if you look at gold, they have a $1 premium between bid and ask.
Wow, look at that, $1.
Now, if you think about the physical market, we as a shop have to put out about $2,400 to get an ounce of gold. Who's going to put out $2,400 in cash to make $1?
To make a buck, yeah.
You can't do it.
Doesn't make sense.
And I try to explain this politely to people sometimes when they're not happy with the premiums, or if we're buying below spot on a certain item. Most people would not lay out $2,400 to make $1 or $20 or $50. I mean, the return is minuscule.
Yeah, so when we talk about the actual price people need to pay for bullion, spot price is one thing, but then there's the premium attached as well. So I call it the stack price. That's the price you pay to get it in your hand.
Yes.
So what would that be right now for an ounce of gold?
If someone were buying from us a U.S. gold piece, it would be spot plus $105.
Okay.
That would be the ask price plus $105. If they wanted a maple or a kangaroo or a Krugerrand, it would be spot plus 90.
Okay, I see. Well, let's take a look at a gold eagle here. Wow.
So here we have a gold 1 ounce eagle.
This would be spot plus 105.
Yes.
If my math is correct, that's around 4%. It's under 5% as a premium.
Yeah, which by the way is another reason why we don't take credit cards on the machine here for something like that. The fee here is 3.5%. It's a pointless transaction to do it that way.
Yeah, they have to pay with cash.
Or a check.
So we have the eagle for 105, and you were saying the other coins are less.
So like the maple or this Krugerrand is going to be spot plus 90.
And would you say premiums right now are relatively low? Is this kind of normal for gold, or are they on the higher side? What do you think?
I think they're, at least here, they're pretty normal for what they've been for a while. What's interesting, and I wish I had one to show you, the premiums on pre-1933 gold, common date $20 gold pieces, which is nearly an ounce of gold, is just about like buying bullion. In fact, I sold 2 $20 gold pieces yesterday that were circulated, lightly circulated. They were right at melt.
So overall, you would say low premiums.
I would say low premiums on most everything. The premiums that are always high and continue to be would be the fractional pieces. So if you look at a 10th ounce of gold here, we're at spot, or more appropriately melt, plus $45. That means if you had 10 1/10 ounces to make an ounce, you're paying $450 premium, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, but not everyone can afford an ounce, and I understand that. But what I do tell people who are new at this and learning about the premiums is if you can save up for an ounce, you're far better off than just giving in right now and getting a 1/10 ounce or a 1/4 ounce, because the premium extrapolated to an ounce is very, very high.
And I've had that conversation with people before about the fractional gold, and one opinion that somebody talked to me about was like, well, I'm into barter and I don't want to have a whole 1 ounce gold coin.
Right.
They prefer the 10th ouncers. They're like, because what if I need a trade for something that I need that isn't quite an ounce of gold, but now I have a 10th ounce of gold and the person that I'm trading with only wants gold. They've got their place, but when it comes to the premiums, I mean, it's just very high.
Yeah.
So I agree with what Harry's saying, but I also see that there's some people that prefer them, but just know, and what Harry said, it's like the premiums is about $450 an ounce on that fractional piece. So it's very high, but it's a good thing to have a mix of them, but don't make it your sole focus to do fractional if you're looking to stack gold.
Yeah, I think if you're looking to stack gold, you want the weight, you want to get that big base going, then you got to get a lot of 1 ounce coins. I definitely want to get into silver a little bit too, because I know a lot of people are just looking to stack silver, and that's kind of their primary focus right now. So you've got silver rounds and bars for $31 per ounce, but as we said earlier, silver spot is right around $29, so that's only a $2 premium on rounds.
Right, but from a percentage basis, it's still higher than the gold.
It is higher, but from what I've seen, I've been doing this for over 6 years now, that seems to be a somewhat normal premium.
Yeah, that's very acceptable to people. If I could just go back a moment to something Adrian pointed out, like people do like 10th ounce because they feel they might need it for barter. But if you think about a barter situation, a 10th ounce of gold is still $240 worth of gold. That's a big chunk of money, if you will, for barter if all you need is a bag of groceries. When that conversation comes up, I try to educate people about the US 90% silver, where you can truly have, for those small transactions, small recognizable increments of silver to do what you think the 10th ounce of gold is going to do. So that a silver dime today would get you $2.20 worth of goods, but that same size worth of gold, more or less a 10th ounce, is still $240. And my usual example is, if you're hungry enough, you'll trade that 10th ounce for the bag of groceries or a can of beans, but you're really wasting your assets by not having this available to you.
Yeah, I agree. I think you should definitely have both. I mean, if you're looking to barter, then I think junk silver, constitutional silver, this is kind of what would be your bread and butter. I mean, this is what I've stacked for barter, and I think a lot of people have done the same.
I agree, and I think that you have a mix of both for larger transactions or just a way to quickly move a lot of wealth, make it more portable. Gold is so important. But for true barter situations, I think the constitutional silver is hard to beat.
And the premium is actually relatively low on this stuff as well. I mean, you're at 22x face value.
Yeah, let me just do a little arithmetic. So that comes to $30.77 an ounce. So it's actually a little less expensive than buying silver in the form of a round. It's still a superb buy.
Yeah, and the premium on this stuff, from what I've seen all my years stacking, is actually on the lower side. I feel like premiums are pretty low right now.
It has once in a while eclipsed the normal bullion, but for the most part, you're going to find it's always a hair under the bullion silver.
And when it comes to premiums, how are those determined? Because we know spot price is determined by the paper markets and all the contracts and trading and all of that. But for how much I'm paying over the spot price, where does that number come in? Do you guys just make it up off the top of your head, or is it supply and demand?
I think you have to look at what we have to pay to get it. And also, I have to admit, I'm constantly looking at other competitors, if you will, locally and even on the online stores, to try to be very, very competitive with them. Would you say that's a rational place to start from?
Yeah, I mean, so the best thing to do is to see what you're up against and also what it's going to cost you to replace what you're selling. And the best way to get an idea of that's seeing where you're going to have to pay for it if you need to get more of it. This is the supply and demand. It's like basics of any business.
Right. So when you say what you're going to pay for it, you're talking about either buying it from the public or from like a wholesaler?
Yeah, exactly. So it's important to look at both, where you're going to get it from the public and from a wholesaler, and kind of come to a price that's kind of in the middle.
Well, there have been times though where the wholesalers were really low on something, for example, Silver Eagles.
Yeah.
and the premium got insane on those for a number of years.
Oh yeah.
So I think definitely supply is a big factor.
It is, and it's, there's so many variables to pricing bullion, and both the buy and the sell, that you have to account for. I remember Eagles had a premium of like $15 on them, and that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
But the thing is, we found ourselves paying close to that premium to be able to get some for the store, so it's all relevant.
If I can bring up an interesting challenge that has just cropped up in the last year, is the advent of Costco selling bullion to the public at what appears to be a loss, particularly in the gold, and then people trying to do a quick flip at local coin shops and make a little money right away on these bars or other things that they're selling. It's created some tension with us and maybe regular or potentially new customers who are disappointed to learn that that quick flip's probably not going to happen to the way you wanted it. Particularly on bars, they're buying these South African Rand bars, which aren't particularly pretty. They're just very plain, but they are an ounce of gold, and they're getting them at a really good price, oftentimes at Costco, which, as a side note, it's the only thing Costco won't take back in return, and they always take back everything.
That's true.
So people are looking to flip that quickly to coin shops, and a lot of that stuff is not an easy sale for us because it's just not in demand, a Rand 1 ounce bar.
Yeah.
So what happens is we have to buy that well back of spot and bring it to a wholesaler. They may be paid spot or a little over. They come here and get told we'll pay 97% of it because I'm going to get 99% of it at a wholesaler. 2% I might make $45 on, again, putting out $2,400 for their bar. It's just not worth it to them, and it's okay with me when they pass on it.
Yeah, no, it is kind of a crazy thing that we've been seeing. And you know what? I actually did a video last week talking about how the grocery store is selling gold and silver down at Fred Meyer through their jewelry. And it was like, whoa, I can actually buy silver from the grocery store.
I would caution people. I mean, everyone always looks for a bargain, but if you're buying from someone like a grocery store or a big box store that doesn't normally do this business and certainly won't buy it back, you're not building a relationship with your local coin shop. To come in unknown and ask for the best premium possible is probably not going to happen.
Right.
Because we know that you're not buying from us, you're just dumping it off here.
And one thing I actually just thought about in regard to premiums, if we could go back to silver for a second, you got rounds for $31 per ounce. Spot is right around $29, so that's a $2 premium.
Yep.
Well, when I first started stacking, rounds were about a $1 premium, but spot was only 15 bucks.
Mm-hmm.
So the percentage is actually about the same. It hasn't really changed.
Maybe even slightly lower if you do the arithmetic.
Yeah, so as a percentage basis, I would say silver premiums are kind of at a low right now.
They're not bad, particularly on Eagles. I mean, we got up to $40 plus on Eagles per ounce, and that was at spot prices that weren't even this high.
Yeah.
Because you just couldn't get them.
Yeah, when it comes to stacking, there's lots of options. You got your bars, you got your Eagles, you got all sorts of different coins and rounds and lots of stuff out there right now. And I kind of think this is a good time for people to be stacking, not only because the premiums are low, but we are seeing a little bit of a dip in silver right now. If it keeps going down, that's only better for those who want to stack.
We all like to buy things on sale, and when something dips like this, I say to myself, well, it's kind of on sale.
One last thing I want to mention on premiums, you got Silver Eagles for $34.50. That's under a 20% premium, Harry. When I tell people what to look for, I say silver, you should try and get under 20%, gold under 5% for an ounce. And that's kind of where I start when it comes with premiums. Do you think that's fair?
I think that's very reasonable, and I think based on your travels and your experience, it'd be hard to argue with that.
All right. Well, hey, this was fun.
Thank you, Silver Dragons.
Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.